Good morning! Welcome to IOD Live TV. I'm Carmen with Carmen's Curiosity Shop and the Curious Farms Market. And this is IOD TV, and happy Friday to everybody and all you guys are watching. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Today we're going to do some fun book art. So on these ones I actually covered my books and put a transfer over the top of them. But we're going to do one that's a little more permanent where we paint the books and then we put the transfer over it. So whatever you would like. And on these books I am using the Ladies in Waiting transfer, one of the pieces of that, and it's got several, so you can pick what you would like or use any transfer you would like. And if you guys are interested in the transfers or the crackle stamp that I'm using today, you can go on the link below the video and it shows you how to get to the retail locator site, and then you can find your closest person. Here's the book I'm going to paint, and the trick that I use is I use press and seal, and it seems to work well, but you could probably use anything to line the inside pages. Let's see, I'm just going to lay it inside here. Close my book. Thank you so much, Liz. Thanks for watching. Can you tell me, I feel a little off today, so I am sorry if I seem that way. So I'm just going to seal this up enough. I probably could have gone over a little further. Just so you seal your pages when you're going to paint your book. And this is the really, really easy part. Actually, the whole project's pretty simple. And I'm just using a white, just a white paint. You can use any type of paint you want if you're going to paint it. So, and it doesn't matter, and you can paint it any color you want. So I am just gonna put some paint on here. So I would put this aside, let it dry, do another coat, and then you can start your project. But since I didn't want you to sit and watch paint dry, I decided I would have my books ready to go. But I just wanted to show you how I did that. Just put some press and seal over the pages, paint the book up, let it dry, do a second coat, and then what I did is I just put a little bit of, and you can put any type of sealer you want, just a little bit on this edge, because especially if your book is really, really old, it may just pick the paint up when you're doing your transfer. So I'm just going to put this little guy aside, and let's get the books. I already painted. Okay. Good morning from Norway. Wow. Wow. I'm always so excited to see who gets on. You can see what I did here was I took, whoops, this is my board. I'm going to set one on the end just to hold them up. I did these 5 books, but you're going to want to measure how wide are your books, and you're going to know how many you're going to need. First thing I'm going to show you is all these beautiful transfers from the Ladies in Waiting. This is one of them, and this is the one that we're actually going to do. Here's the one I actually did on the other books, but you can see how beautiful these are. And I guess they were about 12 inches wide each, so you can see where my books are here. I knew about what I would need. Okay, let me move these guys out of the way. I just wanted to show you the whole transfer. It's so beautiful. Before I get sidetracked again. So, I don't know if you can, let's see if you can see these lines here. What I did is I measured about 2 inches on each book. And then the front book and the back book, I gave myself like 2.5, 3 inches, because I don't mind if it goes over the front edge or the back edge. And then I measured down how far I'd need to go. So I really love the new transfers that they have the grid line, so you know exactly where you're going. And the grid is actually on the transfer piece. So even when you slide around the back piece, it's not changing where you're cutting. So I know I'm going to need it this far. So right now, I'm just going to cut this piece. law books. Oh my gosh. My son-in-law and my other daughter are attorneys, so they've given me a bunch of their old law books. These ones, I actually had gotten a pallet of books from a school auction. They were going to discard them all. And these are actually reference books for literary writers on different writers. So they've been fun to use. Now, can you see these? Yeah, the grid lines are a lifesaver. Otherwise, I would just be going cattywampus all over the place. So, can you see these little lines that I have here? So I know I already measured and cut. So what I did was I did 2 inches. I drew 2 inches, 2 inches, and this is 3 inches. But there's a lot of blank space in here, so that's okay. So I did that first, and I lined up my books. And these two seem to be a little bit wider anyway, so that worked perfect. So hopefully you guys get the gist of what I'm doing on how I measured these. You want to measure how big your books are. Just give yourself just a teeny bit more so it kind of goes over the edge and it looks like the whole picture flows. So I am going to cut all these out. And you really want to make sure you keep them in order, otherwise your picture will look a little goofy. And then the other thing I did was make sure my books are all facing the correct way, if you can. The fun thing about these, if these were books you were actually using, you could still put a cute little sticker or a tab or a plate or something on it and write the name of the book. And they just look so pretty. My bookshelf is all monochromatic and I've covered every book and put labels on them. I love books. Hi Tanya, how are you today? Hope everybody's staying safe out there. It seems like a lot of places have got shut back down again. It just makes me sad. I am ready to get on, but I know we got to wait a little bit longer. Good morning, Maureen. I'm going to put these down here so you can see them. Okay. Now I have this big huge book here and it's just holding my books up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the right. You guys start whichever way you like, the right or the left. And so I'm going to start here and I am going to put, I'm just going to rub my transfer onto this book. And I put some tape at the edges of each one so they didn't come apart when I cut them. So I'm going to use the guide from the top. So it may be a little extra at the bottom, but that's okay. I can cut that off. And I said I did just put a quick swipe of sealer on each of these so they would come off really nicely. Good morning from Greece. Oh my gosh. I'm so amazed. I kind of forget. Now we can see in Indonesia, we can all see each other all over the world. I'm sure you guys aren't as old as me. Remember when we first had internet? It was like, wow, this is so cool. But it was all dial-up and slow. Okay, so I'm going to go over the front edge of this. I'm hoping you can see this. And just carefully go like this. Whoops. Don't you love that? Whoops. This little guy up here. It's not going to want to come off of there on this edge. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about him. Now, I have some excess here. And I think I may just carefully cut this off. Carefully burnish this down. You're going to have some ridges here, especially where the sides of your books are. Okay, so for the second one, this is where you really need to line things up. And I'm going to double, triple check I have my right piece. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, I painted it, and then I just put a quick sealer just over this edge. I didn't put it over the whole book. I just did it on the edges real quick, just to double, triple check that it would stay on there. I said, you know, it probably really would, but sometimes, depending on how old your book is, if it's really cracky and peely, the transfer might just pull the paint up off the book. So I thought, I'll just do a quick swipe of a sealer, and then I'll be safe on this. Now, so for the second book, and this is kind of what we're going to do all the way down the rest, is just line your first two books up and make sure your pattern is lined up like that. I'm just going to kind of press it down and then move this guy out of my way. And I find that just works the easiest for me. Oh, I'm so glad that you're doing so good. Let me see, where did I put it? Okay, so I have a bunch of this at the bottom still. So I'm thinking I might just add a few of these words in here. And of course, I will save all my stems and my pieces, because believe it or not, it's fun. Like if you want to do a big long flower, sometimes you can just take these stems and add them to something else, which is really, really fun. You're so sweet. You are just so sweet. Okay, how about that? What do you think? Isn't this fun? Oh, look at that. That is so fun. I just love the way this looks. Okay, these weren't actually going to go on my bookshelf, but I think they have to now. They just turned out so pretty. And there's just enough on here that you can use, that you don't need to use any of the transfers. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to do a tiny, tiny dab. And I cut my Craquelure is how you pronounce it. My crackle stamp, I cut it up into different sizes so it's easier to work with. Oh, good. I'm glad. You know what? I think that just gives you just a little added oomph. See, if I just, and I'm not sure. We'll see if we can focus up on this. I'm just getting just a little bit, just here and there. So you're just getting just a little more, but not a lot. I don't know, can you guys see that? I think that's really pretty now. Okay, I am going to seal these now. So if you wanted to, you could use a clear wax and then a dark wax. You could use a distressing ink, go around the edges if you wanted to. I think I really like just the way it is though. So I am going to move my ink out of the way so I don't get it all over the place. You know what? I love cutting it up. It's just that it's so big, and I find I just do hit and miss with it. I very rarely ever do one big huge square of crackle. I just like to do the hit and miss so it looks so random that it looks more real than just one huge, just square. Okay, so I'm just using some polyacrylic. That's all I'm using, but you can use any sealer you want. And I really want to just seal this transfer on here. Okay, I'm going to turn these around so you can see them. And let's, what do you think? What do you think? Do you like that? Anything else I should add, or do you think that's good? Isn't that pretty? Guys, I want to thank you again. Thank you so much for watching and taking, part of your day to watch this. I hope you guys try this. I would love to see pictures of what you do. And have a great weekend.